are afraid of silence. In a room with no sound, no distractions, and nothing but your own thoughts, your hand immediately reaches for your phone. You play a podcast, you scroll through a feed, you fill the void with anything to keep from hearing what is inside. You call this staying productive. It is not productivity. It is our defense mechanism. You are addicted to noise. In 2026, digital consumption has evolved. It is no longer just entertainment. It is a biological shield against self-reflection. The constant flow of information, the endless growth content, it is all a sophisticated form of avoidance. You are using busyness to hide from the wreckage of your own internal world. You think you are moving forward, but you are actually running away. You are terrified of what you will find if the noise ever stops. Today, we are lowering the shield. We are going to stop the running. 7 minutes. That is all it takes to expose the truth. 7 minutes with no screens, no music, and no curated escapes. By the end of this, you will understand why you find solitude so daunting. You will see the fragile distractions that your current world is built upon. This may sting, but it will make sense. 7 minutes? It sounds insignificant, a fraction of your day, less time than it takes to order a coffee. But for a mind that has been hyperstimulated for years, 7 minutes is an eternity. There is a psychological transition that occurs when external stimuli are removed. It is a decompression that most people never survive. We need to establish the rules. No screens, no notebooks, no curated meditation music, no guided voices telling you how to feel, just you, sitting in the silence. The first 3 minutes are the boredom phase. Your brain will scream for input. You will feel a phantom itch to check a notification that doesn't exist. You will notice the dust on the floor, the sound of the refrigerator, the ticking of a clock. You never noticed before. You will tell yourself, "This is stupid. I have things to do. I am wasting my potential." This is the ego trying to protect the shield. It is using boredom as a weapon to drive you back to the noise. But if you stay, if you refuse to move, something happens at the 4-minute mark. The boredom evaporates, and it is replaced by confrontation. This is the threshold. The final 4 minutes are where the truth lives. Without the digital noise to drown it out, your internal chaos finally finds its voice. You aren't just bored anymore. You are uncomfortable. The thoughts you have been burying under layers of productivity begin to surface. They don't arrive as logic. They arrive as pressure, a heavy realization of a relationship you are neglecting, a quiet terror about the direction of your life, a profound sense of inadequacy that no elite mindset can fix. You are no longer looking at a wall. You are looking at a mirror. And for the first time in a long time, you cannot look away now. You are in the deep water. The silence begins to categorize itself. It stops being a void and starts becoming a map of your own disorder. The first layer that surfaces is the surface chatter. Your brain attempts to protect you by throwing trivialities at you. Trivial to-do lists, laundry, a forgotten email, the mundane details of tomorrow's schedule. This is a trap. Your mind is trying to keep you in the shallows, so you don't have to swim in the depths. It is an internal diversion designed to make you stand up and return to the Gurul too. But as the minutes crawl by, the trivialities fade, and you are left with the borrowed escapes. You start to hear the opinions you think are yours, but are actually just trends you consumed on social media. The elite mindset slogans, the wellness buzzwords, the borrowed anger about things that do not actually affect your life. You realize that much of your internal dialogue is just a recording of someone else's script. Ask yourself, who are you? When you stop repeating what you have been told to believe, when the borrowed scripts fall away, the physical sensations arrive: restlessness, a twitch in your hand, an urge to stand up and walk away, a sudden sharp tightness in your chest. Do not move. This restlessness is a diagnostic tool. It is the physical manifestation of the exact chaos you are trying to outrun. Your body is literally trying to flee from your own mind. Beneath the borrowed scripts and the superficial lists lies your authentic voice. And it is rarely a comfortable voice. It does not speak in motivational quotes. It speaks in deep-seated anxieties. It whispers about the fear that you are failing, despite your constant productivity. It exposes the realization that you are profoundly lonely. Even when you are digitally connected to everyone, this is the mapping. You are finally seeing the landscape of your own internal ruins. You are no longer a high-performing machine. You are a human being who has been using noise to ignore a structural collapse. You are finally meeting the person you have been hiding from. Your reaction to these 7 minutes is a diagnostic tool. It is a clinical observation of your current mental health. If you found the silence unbearable, if you felt a desperate physical need to escape, it is not because you are a busy or important person. It is because your internal world is currently built on fragile distractions rather than clarity. You have been living in a house of cards, held together by notifications and social media trends, and in the stillness, you saw it begin to collapse. There is a profound difference between being alone with yourself and being at peace with yourself. Most of you are merely alone. Being alone feels like a punishment. It feels like a void that must be filled. It is a state of survival, where you are constantly looking for a way out. Being at peace is a state of arrival. When you are at peace, the silence is not an enemy. It is a recalibration. You do not look for a phone because your internal state is sufficient. The discomfort you felt is the gap between who you are pretending to be and who you actually are. When the lights go out, you realized that your clarity was just a lack of noise. Real clarity does not depend on the environment. Real clarity is what remains when the environment is stripped away. If you are terrified of the person you met in those 7 minutes, it is because that person has been neglected. You have spent years curating an external identity, while allowing your internal world to become a wasteland of unprocessed anxieties and borrowed thoughts. The stillness did not create the chaos. The stillness simply stopped the music so you could finally hear it. You have faced the mirror. Now, you must decide what to do with the reflection. Most people will leave this room and immediately plug back into the grid. They will treat these 7 minutes as a bad dream. They need to forget. Do not be most people. To bridge the gap between your frantic internal chatter and genuine mindfulness, you must take actionable steps. First, do not try to fix the thoughts that surfaced. Observe them. If you found a wasteland of anxiety, acknowledge it. If you found a collection of borrowed social media scripts, admit it. Integration begins with the brutal acceptance of your current state. Second, you must shift your perspective. Solitude is not a daunting punishment. It is not a void to be feared. It is a necessary weekly recalibration. Think of these 7 minutes as a mechanical reset for your soul. You are clearing the cache of a hyper-distracted world. You are stopping the biological shield long enough to remember who is actually behind it. Mastering these 7 minutes grants you a power that the modern world has lost, the power of reclaimed focus. In a world that is screaming for your attention, the person who can sit in silence is the only one who is truly free. You will no longer be a slave to the next notification. You will no longer react, like a trained animal, to the noise of 2026. The long-term benefits are absolute. You will move from being alone with yourself to being at peace with yourself. The internal chaos will not disappear, but it will no longer control you. Do this every week. 7 minutes of total uncomfortable stillness. It is the price of your own clarity. The truth has been revealed. Now stop running and breathe.